So I have another patron request here, this time from Santos Medrano. Um, and he recommended an anime movie called Perfect Blue. Now, if you guys have followed my channel or if you know me at all, anime is not something I'm big on. I usually am very turned off to it. I can't really exactly put my finger on why. Is it an aesthetic thing? Is it a tone thing? Is it a storytelling thing? Like, I'm not really sure what it is. I would almost have to blame it on the animation style. For some reason, the characters just don't resonate with me because of it. I'm taken away from it because I don't have a problem with Pixar movies and that kind of stuff because for some reason I can very much connect with the characters. Well, I shouldn't say for some reason. The reason is because is that they're so realistic and so they're so able to emote. You know, they're so able to show their inner thoughts and whatnot. They're the subtleties, the mannerisms, and everything is right there out in the open on their faces. And so, in these movies, I can't read the characters. I can't get a performance off of characters, and the storytelling is very loose. Like, you never know what's real, what's reality, what's symbolic, what's metaphorical, what's really happening, what isn't. So it's like an acid trip without taking the drugs, you know. And I don't know. I guess because of the style, because of everything. Anyways, moving on from anime. But I've never talked about anime on the channel except for to bash anime fans because I think they are the worst. Just because of how they act towards anything talking about anime. It just, they have a love for it, but they're also entitled elitist. I'm not going to finish that one, but my interactions for the most part with anime fans is not been pleasant. They very much think that their opinion is, you know, much higher, and anything that tries to follow it, especially live action adaptations and all that, the way they handle those, the way it's something else. So anyways, now with this film, this is one of those films, and I have not really talked about this film with anybody. Having watched it last night, I didn't really know where my feelings rested. I didn't know exactly what I felt about it. And so I wanted to kind of sit on it, sleep on it, think about it, analyze it. Now, of course, this film is going to be left open to multiple different interpretations, whichever one suits your liking, or you can change it every viewing or whatever, which is great. I mean, as long as a film questions that it poses at the end are interesting enough to explore, then I'm fine with them. If it just feels like lazy or pretentious writing, where it's just like, I'm going to leave a bunch of open-ended questions, and it's like, you could have answered those easily in the way that you constructed this film, you just didn't, and that just seems lazy to me. But when really like existential questions are asked, when really intriguing, thought-provoking stuff is posed, I don't mind that stuff, as long as the film kind of has that feel to it throughout, where it's, you're not getting the answer. When you watch this movie, for the most part, especially with anime, things are going to be pretty loose. They're going to be whimsical. They're going to be nonsensical at times. And so you kind of just got to accept that you're not going to get the full spoon-fed explanation. And I'm fine with that. So what my thoughts overall are is I'm still kind of mulling that over. I will say that this is the best anime movie I've watched. Now, I haven't seen a lot. I've watched some Miyazaki type flicks. Not type flicks, but his films, Howling's Moving Castle and the Kiki's Delivery Service, stuff like that. And I know that's kind of like the higher echelons, really, really well respected anime stuff. He's kind of the most prolific name in anime, to the mainstream anyways. I'm sure the real anime buffs would be like, I'm sure they would like him, but they would be like, oh no, where the real shit is over here, you know. I know some of the anime shows, Full Metal Alchemist and Cowboy Bebop and stuff like that. I recognize titles, and I know people are big fans of Last Airbender and all these. I've honestly never seen any of that stuff, so I can't really speak. I haven't even seen Akira, so, and I own it. I bought a copy for a buddy of mine. So, anyways, I never talk about anime, so I just wanted to talk about that. Maybe I'll give anime a little bit more of a shot, because this movie very much makes you think. It makes you think about a lot of different things. There's so much going on in this film. I can tell you this 100%. This is something I can say with all certainty. I completely understand anyone who would absolutely love this. I'm never against anyone loving anything. But there are films where I genuinely am sitting there like, how could anyone love this movie? Like, I just don't see what is likable. But that's not the case with this. Like, if someone was like, this is a masterpiece, outright, I wouldn't disagree with that, because I can see the appeal. I can see the brilliance. I can see the poetry within. And I think that this film would serve best to be watched multiple times, because there are so many takeaways. There are so many questions that you'd like to go back, having watched it once, and look at it from a different perspective, or pay attention to other little subtleties throughout to try to pinpoint where your interpretation is heading. But man, I mean, what a thought-provoking movie. It does deal with so many different things to explore, as far as, like, you know, who are you? And this whole, like, as a YouTuber, as somebody who's sat in front of this camera for over 2 freaking years now, and I only interact with you as this personality. But I think my channel's a tad different, just because I am so honest and I am so forthcoming with who I am. Like, this is exactly, like, who you see in this channel is exactly who I am in real life. Like, if you were to meet me outside of here, you'd be like, oh, that's Sinister Cinema. Like, you wouldn't think, like, wow, that's a completely different person than the scripted asshole that, you know, whatever. He's so much nicer, or he's so much more mean, or whatever, that persona that people present in front of the camera. So with our main character here, she's this pop star, she's this idol, and there is a certain image that she personifies, that she puts out there for the general public to sell a product, her as the product. And she starts to outgrow that in her mind, and she wants to take a different avenue. She wants to go and become an actress. And of course, this is much to the chagrin of some of her fans. Obviously, the biggest one of them being her stalker, which is a whole nother thing. I mean, that's just, the stalker part of it could have been its own thing, you know, its own film. But with her kind of exploring who she really is, what the general public thinks of her persona, and who she actually is, and trying to kind of live this dual life. You know, the theme of this is duality. And, you know, just thinking about, like, how you're perceived, and ultimately trying to break away from that. And a lot of stars have to deal with that. Not only stars who just have, you know, their acting life, but then of course their personal life. But anybody, especially a child actor, a child pop star, you see a lot of them kind of break away from the labels, break away from the identity that they've been kind of given as this child. And so you'll see a lot of child actors go through this, like, rebellious, over-sexualized phase. You saw some of Miley Cyrus and her Wrecking Ball and all those videos that she did to kind of be like, I'm not a little kid anymore, okay? I'm a grown woman. And you're seeing me as a child. and I'm going to show you that I am now a woman. Now, it might be annoying to you. It might be a little over the top. You're going to roll your eyes and this and that. But I'm going to take back, or not even take back. I guess she never had it in the first place. But she's going to own her adulthood and her sexuality. And I'm an adult. Like, I'm a physical being that wants to have physical relations and this and that. If you continue to keep seeing me as a child, that's not the way I want to be seen. And so, anyway, I could get into that for too long, but you've got this girl, and she's this pop star, and she wants to go into acting, and she does. And when she goes into it, I don't know if it's her choices to go with this more risque, exploitative, yeah, I think that is an accurate way to say that, type of film where she's being raped on stage and showing her naked body, and on that, just to maybe distance herself from her other persona, the one that she wants to get away from. If she does something wholly different, that will distance herself from that. So I don't know if she's just getting that because she's a young, beautiful girl that's inexperienced and all she can get roles in at that moment, or more exploitation type stuff, or is that an actual choice? As I said, multiple watches, maybe she said something, or somebody else said something, I'm like, oh, okay, that she does want these specific roles. And then just a stalker. I mean, the way he perceives her is the avatar that she shows to the world. And when she starts to show her true colors, this is when he can't handle it, and he safeguards that at any cost. Goes around, he buys up every magazine of her nude body, anything, because that's not the way he perceives her, and he doesn't want anyone else to perceive her that way, and he needs her to conform to the way he sees himself in his head. Very similar to the Bjork fiasco with that psychopath who sent her the freaking bomb or whatever in the mail and killed himself, and just terrifying stuff. Absolutely terrifying stuff. And also, of course, this film is I don't know about famous, because I don't know how many people talk about this, but it's well known in the film community that Darren Aronofsky not only bought the rights to this film to exactly mirror a scene from this, of a bathtub laying down for Requiem for a Dream. Not really honestly sure why we'd have to have bought the rights to this for that. He could have done it as an homage, so I don't really get why he purchased it, but he did. Maybe he just wanted to have the rights for it, and that was just an excuse. But also people attribute this to being the inspiration, or some people even claim it's an outright, that Black Swan is an outright ripoff of this. I completely disagree. I've seen Black Swan a bunch of times. I love it. And could I see similarities? Sure. I mean, you can see similarities through everything. So James Cameron freaking rip off Dances with Wolves. I mean, it's exactly the same film, really, from a narrative perspective. So, but it is a completely different film in its own right. So, story beats and stuff like that. Now, the fact that he owns the rights, that is kind of a little odd. I will admit that. So if Cameron bought Kevin Costner's Dances with Wolves before he made Avatar, then I would be like, oh, okay, that's a little suspicious. But I could see the comparisons, some of them for sure, but overall. And then with the whole ending being so confusing. I mean, I was just like, okay, so it's not her, but it isn't, but it is, but is she losing her mind? Is this woman actually here? She is, but what is her play in all of this? Has she been, what is going on? You know, and this is where I say, like, multiple watches would help out. So, You definitely picked a good one here, man. I mean, of the anime films, I mean, this is definitely the most in my wheelhouse. It's extremely thought-provoking, deep, makes you want to overanalyze the shit out of something. It delves into the horror genre at times. It's got thriller elements. It's got hot naked Japanese women. It's got it's a good flick, man, for sure. I get it. I just, because of my aversion to anime, I guess I struggled in the opening and didn't allow myself to be fully immersed in the way that I wish I would have let myself become in order to better appreciate and understand what I was watching, although already stating the fact that multiple viewings you would still be probably just as lost as maybe your first couple. So I don't think that the answers will ever come for anybody. Everybody's going to have their interpretation of it, but a very rich film, a very deep film, a lot of philosophical meanings throughout, and the question of who we are and who we present to the public, especially with social media. Oh my God. I mean, you think about that. I mean, this is 1997, right? If this movie was made in, this is before Facebook, and the director, who's I think he's dead now. I wonder if he ever got to really see. I don't know when he died, or I'm pretty sure I heard he died. I'd be curious on how he would see this now, and that's why I think something like this. There is the internet at that point, but man, it's very far removed from the internet as we know it now, and how obsessive we've become as a culture, and how we've all become avatars ourselves. It's not just the pop stars anymore. It's not just the online famous personalities or anything. It's everybody. Everybody has this persona. Everybody has this, greatest hits compilation that they extend to the selected group of friends that they had, half of which they don't even remember accepting friend requests from, or couldn't even tell you where they came from, and if they could, their interactions with them were extremely short-lived. And it's funny that we are so obsessive with trying to present ourselves in such a alluring way to a bunch of people that we would barely stop in the street to say hi to. So yeah, I would definitely be curious to know what his thoughts on how this movie is still extremely relevant to the times, if not more so than it was when this was initially released. So yeah, the social media and the way we present ourselves, honestly, and I'm trying not to be I'm trying not to think of myself in a way that I'm not. I'm not trying to. I can't think of this word right now. God damn it. The way I present myself online is just how I am. I really don't share the best of. That's just not me. I don't edit my videos for a reason. I don't. Filter my pictures. I don't try to take any cool stuff. If you ever look on my freaking Facebook or anything, there's almost no pictures of me ever. And not because I don't think I'm a good looking man, or that I don't think that I have something to offer, or any of that stuff. It's just, and it's not because I'm trying to be like stating a message that I'm not this way. I really, really am not in denial, is the word I was trying to think of, about anything that's there. I really try to just be me at all times. But I know so many people who are nothing like they are online. And yeah, I mean, the people who follow them, if they were to actually meet them in real life, they'd be like, this is who I was obsessing over. You're not the person I expected you to be. You are not. And that can be a serious blow to people. I mean, there's the whole adage, like, never meet your heroes. They'll let you down, for that very reason. So yeah, this movie, man, it just, what a wonderfully deep film. So thank you for the suggestion. I would love to watch it again with somebody and fully discuss it, dissect it, get more in depth, talk about beat by beat. I would have done that here, but I was really just trying to pay attention and focus in and just kind of flow here. Maybe I'm not flowing. I'm just still thinking about everything. So, what do you guys think about this movie? Have you seen Perfect Blue, the 1997 anime film? It's one worth watching. Even if you're not an anime fan like myself, I think you should do yourself a favor and check it out. It might change your ideas of anime and what it can bring to a story. The way that this story is told through anime, and just the way it plays with reality, and you never really know what you're watching because you think you're watching her life, and then it just kind of blends into this movie. And then when she kind of like turns around and she's in one situation, and then she's in a different one, you never know where she's at in her life. You never know if this is a film. You never know if this is her persona. You don't ever know if this is actually her. You never know of who she is at the end, and was she the one who was doing this all to herself and then perceiving her in a different way to protect herself? Did she have a split personality? Did she not? Was that girl real? Was she not? Who was at the end that was like, it is me, and she's telling the audience, like, very meta. Yeah, you could just go crazy, and that's just it. I mean, I don't know if there's supposed to be an answer. I'm not really exactly sure if that's the message of the film. I think it's just look closer, look deeper. So anyway, guys, all right, enough rambling. I don't even know if I made any damn sense there, but that's my thought process, and you got to hear it out loud. So anyway, guys, adios. Thank you to Santos. That was awesome, Ben. Thank you.